Welcome to John Esser Sports Channel, where we bring you League One, Week 42 this time, predictions. And we're going to go to the Virtu Trophy as well, so do stay on board. We're going to give you all the lot from Saturday and Sunday's games. It's Wigan versus Wrexham first. This is first because it's a 12:30 game. Exeter is where Wigan went. Now, Wigan played Exeter and Exeter. Now, Exeter really were in charge of this game, and they should have technically come out with an awful lot more than just 1 point. Exeter actually had more of the game. They had more passing. They had the ball in nice, neat, short passes with each other really well, but they just didn't do enough here. 3 shots on target, 1 in the net, similar to Wigan. 3 shots on target, 1 in the net. However, with less gameplay, less passing, Wigan did an awful lot more with it. It's like 5 shots in total, 3 on target and 1 in the net. You can't complain about those stats. Wigan did more with this ball as far as I could see. Yeah, it wasn't a great game. It wasn't one of these for the football connoisseur, I don't think. However, it was a decent game. And I think that Wigan won away at Exeter. Perhaps for Wigan was a good result, because I could have seen Exeter nicking that one at any time. Wrexham, though, they went to Burton. Burton at home, wasn't it? So it was Wrexham versus Burton. Wrexham 3, Burton 0. But that 10th minute Charlie Webster penalty, Charlie Webster red card, absolutely mind-numbingly insane. I can see why it's a red card. He did nick the ball and glide into just above the ankle. And I've heard some of the radio stations, Talk Sport is one, saying that it's above the ankle, therefore it's going to be a red. However, what gets me is that the player went down the Wrexham player went down like a sack of spuds and clutched his knee. The foot went nowhere near your knee, guy. There was no way on earth you should be rolling around grabbing your knee, because the foot hit just above your ankle. Now, if you're going to grab somewhere, grab where the foot hit, not on the knee to try and make it look like it was extremely high and really, really dangerous. Look, it was going to get a red card for it being above the ankle anyway. That was just sheer stupidity by the Wrexham player and not very good gamesmanship. So, disagree with football fans thinking that that the Wrexham guy wasn't to blame there for anything. That he was there. It was actually that was definitely bad gamesmanship by the Wrexham player. Forgetting about that, it was a good game actually. I actually enjoyed it. I think that Wrexham did deserve the win. If you look at the stats. We've got Wrexham's 71% possession, 23 shots, 5 on target. They've been a bit disappointed at that, but they've had this sort of statistic before similar to that. 5 on target, 3 in the net, though, is not what they're used to. That's actually quite good for them. Burton Albion, 3 shots, 2 on target, not in the net. What do we expect? They really had their backs to the wall after the sending off. And I'll say no more about that. So what have we got in the past? We've got Wigan, win, lose, draw, lose, draw. They're being very good with the draws. Let's just look at the table in a second. Wrexham, though, lose, win, draw, win. The last draw was 2-2 away at Cambridge. Now, Cambridge not playing that well, but they have started to play a little bit better. And at home, their fans can get quite boisterous behind that team. Really good. That's the extra man that they really do need at the minute. I just want to have a look at that table for Wigan because Wrexham are in second place on 81 points. Wigan are in 18th on 46. But if you look at this, there's only 2 teams that really stand, well, possibly 3. 2 main teams that stand out in the bottom half of that league. 13 draws for Wigan, 13 draws for Northampton, and of late, Wigan seem to be pulling in 1 or 2 interesting draws. 1-1 against Barnsley at home, 0-0 away at Leyton Orient. That was a good 0-0 draw. And 1-1 away the last game against Exeter. Now, they hung in on that one, remember. So I think that the idea here for me is Wigan are probably going to be trying for that draw. I think that a draw here will just about, it gets them to 47, one more win and they're on the beach. They may consider themselves just about on the beach now, in which case they may be trying to start finding a couple of different things to play. How can we play in a different formation? Can we play one or two of the kids and try and see if they're any good? This is the time of year where if you think you're on the beach, it's a good idea to try and a few different things, and you will see it. We saw it in the Rotherham game. We had one of our guys pulled back because we had so many injuries we couldn't make a bench up. So we got one of our guys from he was on loan to some lower level side, and he had his first game. And he was really chuffed about it. So we are starting to see these little traits where you think you're on the beach, we'll try something different, and I can see that happening with Wigan. I really can. Wrexham, though, you really do. You can see by the table. They're in second on 81, and Wycombe are the same number of games now, just behind them on 78. Just 3 points behind, so one winning and the other one losing, and you're starting to get really, really close because the goal differences aren't that much different either. So it's really, really exciting between those two, Wrexham and Wycombe, isn't it? And Stockport County aren't that far behind, remember, and realistically neither are Charlton. I don't think Charlton will see themselves as possibilities for the second place, but I'm not ruling them out just yet. So you can see how Wrexham really want to start piling those wins on. That draw against Cambridge, a little bit disappointing. We've lost 2 points there. The defeat away to Reading, that one suddenly came out of the blue. Nobody expected that, really. And yet Reading, who have been given that lifeline now to the end of the season, managed to get a win. And you think, they do slip up occasionally. Not very often, but they do slip up occasionally. Anyone trying to beat this team is going to have to make sure they score first and shut the barn door, because it's really that sort of as simple as that with Wrexham at the minute. It hasn't been like that all season, but at the minute it seems to be, if you're going to beat them, you have to get that first goal and just batten down the hatches. So, what do I think? I think that Wrexham have to be the favourites here. However, there's been one or two. There's a little bit of pressure on, and there's a lot of injuries flying around. There's a lot of people feeling a little bit fatigued, and I think actually Wrexham are showing probably the least amount of fatigue in League One at the minute. I can't see Wigan doing it. It could be a draw. It could really be a 1-1 draw, but I'm not going to go for that. I do think Wigan will score. I think it's going to be one of those boring games where it's just we just want to try and get a point from the Wigan side, and Wrexham are just going to keep on pounding away, saying, well, once we've got ahead, we'll just hold up and stop there, because I think they just need those 3 points, do as little as we can, because the season is far too close to the end to start getting injuries during, isn't it? And people are nursing their teams now across the line. So I can see that happening. I may be totally wrong, but I'm going to go for Wigan 1, Wrexham 2, and we'll move on to the next game. Now, the next game is Wycombe versus Stevenage. Now, Wycombe Wanderers in third, so obviously they're trying to chase down that side, Wrexham, against Stevenage in 14th and 52 points there. They are definitely on the beach now. Can they get up into sixth place and 68 points? No, not really. Far too many sides in between them. And I think the top side like Reading would have to lose every single game till the end of the season. So it's not going to happen. So they're definitely on the beach. Wycombe there, though, are trying to get back to some form. And at the minute, they just seem to be in a blip, don't they? We've got Wycombe on lose, win, win, draw, lose, win. We're shaking now. The Huddersfield win, that was a really, really iffy win for me. 1-0 away at Huddersfield, and 63 minutes Udo got that goal. However, Huddersfield were in the driving seat. 65% play, 9 shots, 2 on target, none in the net. It just happened to be 11 shots from 35% possession. Really good for Wycombe, wasn't it? 3 shots on target, and you think 1 in the net, and they won 1-0. I think that Huddersfield will be really, really kicking themselves for not getting a win here. However, they didn't, and they lost to Wycombe. Stevenage, on the other hand, they won Crawley 3-1. Crawley have been so good. They really have. For Stevenage to win Crawley when Crawley have started to play really well is actually quite impressive. I think Stevenage have been a little bit disappointing of late, haven't they? So what have we got? Wycombe, lose, win, win, draw, lose, win against Huddersfield. Stevenage, draw, lose, lose, win. I think that there's a sense now of let's just try a few things out. I can't see it working against this Wycombe side. They have had a blip. It could be a draw because, let's face it, Wycombe are in a bit of a quandary at the minute. They're not getting the best out of what they can put on the pitch. That was a very ropey win against Huddersfield, and I can see this side starting to slip now, and perhaps even slip into down one more place before the end of the season. However, I think this particular game they'll just about sneak it. Looking at the number of goals these teams are scoring, I'm going to go for Wycombe 1, Stevenage 0, and we'll move on. So we go on to Barnsley versus Bolton now. Barnsley, very, very very difficult season, hasn't it? Barnsley now 13th on 54 points, same points as my team, and where did the season go wrong for them? And Bolton losing against Rotherham last time out, and something like 30 odd shots at goal, and was it 55 shot 50 odd crosses into the box, and you're thinking, this is really insane. But the Rotherham team just battened down, and they lost 1-0 at home to Rotherham, and you're thinking they're now in 7th place, just behind Reading in 6th on 68 points, 2 points ahead. They've got to keep this going to try and get back into that 6th slot, especially now that Reading have indeed got that lifeline to the end of the season. Barnsley have lose, draw, lose. They're not doing very well. The last time out, 6-2 defeat away at Birmingham. And I think they're well and truly on the beach now. They really are just going to try a few different things. They do seem to be doing that, and obviously didn't work against Birmingham, but it's about trial and error now, isn't it? It's not about winning the league. It's not about going up, and it's not about getting relegated. Bolton Wanderers, though, it is lose, win, lose against Rotherham last time out, but they have been really good on the front foot, and they can score when they want to, and when they're fully fit, and when they're really good at tactics. They usually do get the tactics right, and they usually do stick to the game plan. I just have seen, and I still think it was the same against Rotherham. The effort was there, but sometimes it was just the lack of thought, or they looked a little bit jaded sometimes, and they made the wrong decision. I think one of the Bolton fans on his video said, well, that's blatantly offside by one of their guys, and it wasn't called by the linesman, but it was just, he wandered offside just purely for, you'd want to say by accident, but it wasn't. It was just too engrossed in what he was doing. It was a little bit lapse. And we're getting to the end of it's almost like end of the season thing where you're getting tired and you just don't really think things out properly. Instead, he's just going with the flow, and he just wandered straight into an offside position. Unfortunately, it hit the bar. So it's one of those things where you think, Bolton have got it, but they just need to tidy up that some of those instant thought process. Kick, pass. Sometimes it was just kick, tap. Where's he going? Pass. And it just took a second too long sometimes for me from the Bolton side. And perhaps that's the difference between them winning Rotherham and losing against them. It's been pretty poor from both of these sides of late, to be honest. But I think that Bolton have the more abilities to get out of this. And I can't see many goals going in, even though Barnsley let 6 in against Birmingham, because it is Birmingham. I'm going to go for a sneaky 1-0 win. I'm going to go for Barnsley 0, Bolton 1. And I think they'll just about sneak. Could be the opposite way around, but I'm going to go for a Bolton win and move on to Bristol Rovers versus Exeter City. Now, Bristol Rovers are in 20th position. This is a team just above the drop zone. Burton on 39. That 3 points gap is just sticking very nicely for Bristol Rovers at the minute, isn't it? Exeter on the beach now, 49 points. I know they're in 15th, but they realistically are on the beach. So both of these teams can afford to just plod through this game, can't they? So how well have they been doing? Bristol Rovers win against Bolton 3-2. You see, and I thought they were going to actually. I thought they were going to get back and equalise Bolton there, but they didn't. So it was a win, lose. 5 wins, losses in a row there for Bristol Rovers. 5-0, 1-0, 2-1, 2-1, 1-0. They don't seem to be scoring either in that very much, do they? Against an Exeter side, drew against Rotherham though 6 games ago. Draw, lose, win, lose, draw. This is the draw against Wigan the last time out, and they actually played the better football. Will they get the look this time? Well, they didn't get the look at home. Will they get the look away to Bristol Rovers? I can't really see it. I'm afraid. If anybody wins it, I think it will be. It's likely to be Wigan based on their performance. It's likely to be Exeter based on the Wigan performance. However, I think it's going to be Bristol Rovers 1, Exeter 1, and we'll move on. So after the Bristol game, where do we go next? We go to Burton versus Huddersfield. And of course, Burton with that red card, which was, to me, never a red card. Please do comment down below. Like and subscribe, of course. And Burton, lose, win against Shrewsbury, lose, win against Orient, and lose against Wrexham. That red card was far too early on for them, and they just crumpled after that. A bit disappointed in the referee there. Look, some people say, and TalkSport agrees that it was a red card. It's just above the ankle. However, was it malicious? Was it dangerous? I question that one. My thoughts in going down, grabbing his knee. Huddersfield, lose, win, lose, win, lose. Both these sides lost against the top 3, didn't they? Burton losing 3-0 to Wrexham and Huddersfield losing 1-0 to Wickham. So this is a really, really difficult game for these two teams. I think that they're both wanting to get back into it and start to play football. Now, 8th place Huddersfield and 64 points. They're not out of it. They're 4 points behind Reading in 6th, and I think that they could quite easily get something from this game if they get their act back together. They really have dropped, haven't they, from the days when they were right in the top 6, and they just seem to be dropping a little bit like Barnsley, but not quite as fast. They're playing Burton. Obviously, Burton are really, really up on this. They're really trying to get past, catch Bristol Rovers, 3 points ahead of them. They've drawn twice as many games as Burton, as Bristol City. So I think Burton here are really on the front foot as far as, when they when they want to, they can actually neutralise a game semi-easily. So, and I've noticed that about Burton, they can just shut up shop, and it does seem to work quite more often than not. So what I'm thinking is, Burton lose, win, lose, and Huddersfield lose, win, lose. It's very much one way or the other, but Burton, they haven't drawn one in the last 6, and that's unusual for Burton. And I think this could be the one that they draw. I think it's going to be Burton 1, Huddersfield 1. I really do think the odds are showing that Burton will draw a game very, very soon, and I think it's going to be this one. I'm going to go for a draw there. And then we go to Cambridge versus Charlton. Now, this has to be a one-sided game, doesn't it? We've got Charlton away. They're in 5th place on 73 points. Reading on 68, 5 points below them. I think we start one more win, and Charlton will be thinking, that's it, we're in the playoffs, and we can just pull back and try and re-energise our players, put some reserves on, and just allow our first team to get really fit for that push to the playoffs. And I think that's realistically what they need to be doing. Let's get a win. Let's just make sure that we're confident that we can stay in the top 6, and then they can use the last few games to just relax and recoup their energies. Cambridge, as good as down for me, 35 points in 23rd position. They're now going to be trying to just prove that they can actually turn on the style with this team. This team is now playing for their career, so they need to be playing good football, and they've been improving a little bit each game, but they've just not managed to do it for me. Big enough because of the teams around them have done a little bit better. Cambridge lose, draw, win against Shrewsbury, of course. So the two bottom sides there playing each other, and the Cambridge came out on top. Other than that, 3 draws: Barnsley, Northampton, and Wrexham 2-2. Remember, that was a really good game. I thought that they might just get knocked out of that and lose it, but they did come back a second time. Yeah, absolutely brilliant. Against Charlton, win, lose, win, draw. Last time out, 2-2 draw against at home to Lincoln, and I didn't see that one coming. Lincoln have got some damn good statistics. They are actually playing really well, and the statistics show they're playing really well. They just don't seem to get the run of the green or the points. I can't say that they've been particularly bad when they've lost. It's just manic. They don't sort of roll over and get trounced. It's just even the 3-0 defeat away at Peterborough, I think they played reasonably well. Somehow they just don't get the run of the green. The Charlton are a good side. Their technical ability is showing through, and I'm confident that they can get a result away at Cambridge. I think that the run, if anything, the only thing that Cambridge for me can hope for is a draw. See if they can do a Wrexham and just get a couple of goals, 1 or 2 goals, and just bang, try and shut up shop against this Charlton side, who are better at home than away. Granted, but I think that this side is so technically brilliant at this point in time in the season that it's going to be a Charlton win. Will Cambridge score? More often than not, they do. I'm going to say Cambridge 1, Charlton 3, and we're going to move on. So after Cambridge, it's Crawley versus Leyton Orient. Now, Crawley Town, they've been up and down. Recently, they played some really cracking football. Bristol Rovers, they played brilliant football there. 1-0 win. And Rotherham United, they won Rotherham at Rotherham 4-0. Should have been 7 or 8-0. Absolutely. And then they lost 4-3 at home to Peterborough, and then they lost 3-1 away at Stevenage. and they just seem to have lost the heart. And it's strange because they were really, really good coming away from the Rotherham game, and they were actually playing some of their best football for me. So Crawley, lose, win, lose against Leyton Orient, lose, win, lose, draw, win against Mansfield 3-2. Orient are in 9th on 63 points. The 5 points behind Reading. Look, if they want to get into that 6th slot, they have to win this one. If they were to lose this one, I fear that there's not enough games for them to be able to realistically catch them up. I know it's possible. I know it's technically possible, but I wouldn't be. I wouldn't, if I was a betting man, I wouldn't be putting my money on it. So Leyton Orient need to win this one, and they'll be thinking, yeah, we can win it. We can win it. Absolutely, we should be winning Crawley. And I think because Crawley have just hit that sort of mental downside for me, I think that it's going to end up with a semi-easy. Crawley can score. That's the problem. Crawley can score, and they can score quite a lot. But they can also let goals in. 5-1 defeat against Huddersfield. Look, they're usually quite good at home. That last home game, 4-3 defeat to Peterborough, and I start thinking, can they score against Leyton Orient? Because they do let goals in. Leyton Orient 3-2 against Mansfield win. I'm actually going to go for Crawley 2, Leyton Orient 3. I'm going to go for a second 3-2 result for Leyton Orient. In fact, it'll be their second 3-2 win in a row. So that's a surprise, wasn't it? So I wonder what the odds are on that. And then we go Lincoln City versus Shrewsbury. Now again, Lincoln City, like I said, they've been playing some pretty good football. As far as I think they've been playing good football, and I think they've not getting the results that the table and their performance. No, their performance doesn't match where they are in the table at the minute and the results they're getting. And I think that Shrewsbury Town, they've just got their heads down. I mean, it's a strange 0-0 draw against Wickham away, and you think, wow, where did that one come from? Straight on the back of a 4-1 defeat to Birmingham, where Birmingham could have actually put several more in the net in that game. So Lincoln City, lose, win, draw, lose, win, draw. You know, they're trundling through this season now because I don't think there's that much to play for. 54 points in 11th. Yeah, definitely on the beach. Shrewsbury Town are obviously completely down there at 24th. They're not getting out of that. So we are seeing two sides that really don't have much to play for now. Just see what we can do with the remainder of the season and put up as good a show as we can. Can Lincoln just keep on that last push just to keep the fans happy? I think they will. I think they'll just about do this. I think it'll be Lincoln 2, Shrewsbury 1. And interesting, it may be a good game because I think the shackles are off now and they can play their own game. You might find a few players just showing exactly what they can do, whereas with the shackles on, they didn't quite do it during the season. So let's see if it happens. You know, it may be a really good game to watch. Northampton Reading next. Northampton win, draw against Birmingham 1-1. Win, draw, lose, win. Obviously lost against Rotherham. You know, we played okay. We played as a team. That's the only difference in that game. We got the new manager bounce, played as a team for the first time this season. Well, probably the second time this season. And then they win 4-0 away at Peterborough. And I think Northampton is showing that they can do some really good. I mean, in the last 6 games, they've won 2-1 against Leyton Orient away and 4-0 away at Peterborough. You know, they can turn it on, and they absolutely can. We know Northampton can play some really good football, but they can also play some really bland football as well. Reading, though, they really have played absolutely superb considering what's going on off pitch. Win, draw, win, lose, win, win. They started to do some pretty good football, and what I've seen of them seems to be like we get ahead, we do as little as we need to get in the lead, and just give ourselves as much of a gap as possible, and then we just try and hold it at that, and it is working for them. It is absolutely working, and I think that this Reading side is really coming up against a side at home, Northampton, who can actually play some pretty good football. It's going to be quite a good game. I think this one might be another one of those games for the football connoisseur. I'm going to enjoy watching this one, certainly on the replays, because I think this one could be one of those where you get 3, 4, 5 goals in it. In fact, I think Reading will score 3. It's just that how many will Northampton score? You know, I don't want to go for a 3-2 because I've been for a 3-2 already. I've been for 2. I'm going to go for Northampton 1, Reading 3. This could be a 3-3. Really could. So, moving away from that one, we go on to the next one, which is Stockport versus Rotherham. And we know Stockport high up there. Now, Rotherham have played a couple of really, really tough games. Blackpool, we changed our manager. We won against Northampton 2-0. We won against Blackpool 2-1, and we really did play really well there. And I think we deserved that win, certainly. Bolton 1-0 last time out, and we were absolutely on the back foot, weren't we? All the way after gaining that lead. We just hung back and made sure it was everybody parked the bus and don't let anyone in, and it worked. We played as a team for once. So Rotherham is showing that these guys can actually play football, and if they've got their backs against the wall, they can do that as well. They don't just give up like they have done for the rest of the season. But we're playing a Stockport side who are in the playoffs for a reason. So where are we in the table, guys? Rotherham 12th on 54 points. We are on the beach, absolutely. Stockport 74 points in 4th. Now, for me, they're almost guaranteed a place in the playoffs now. If you look at it, the gap between Stockport and Reading is 6 points. So, 6 points. I can see, 6 points in, and they're on 41 games at the minute. 6 points gain in 5 games. And I usually say 1 point a game is about, doable. They're just, I think, countable as being, safe enough in that, in the top 6. So, they may be hoping for one more win, and we can almost guarantee we're in the playoffs. And then, like I said, we'll try and calm it down. Or, they may be thinking that, like I am, that they're probably quite safe on 74 points. They've got another 5 games, another 4 games after this game. They only need to win one of them or get 4 points from the last 4 games. Surely they're going to get that. So they must be pretty confident. Are they confident enough to pull back some of their better players? Probably are, and they probably need to. The fact, so there's fans that are out there thinking, we're not going to rest. Believe me, the manager, if he thinks he's going to get into the playoffs for sure, will want to rest all those good players, because you need the good players for those for the playoffs. And it's just something that you can get in trouble for, but it's something that the club will most likely say, well, we'll take the trouble and we'll rest them. So, absolutely. I don't think they will, but they could do it. I think it'd be a bit of a shock, because that's not something that Stockport. I see Stockport being managerially likely to do. Stockport draw, win, win, win. Rotherham draw, lose, win, win. We really are starting to really quite well, but so are Stockport, and it is at Stockport. I've been backing my side for the last couple of games. I'm going to back. I did say a draw against Blackpool, didn't I? Because I said a draw and we won 2 games ago, I'm actually going to go for. I just can't see either. I think both teams are going to neutralise each other. I really do think both of these teams are going to neutralise each other. Rotherham want to continue this winning run. He's not lost a game yet, our new manager, and he doesn't want to, does he? Hammy doesn't want to lose a game against a team that desperately want that 3 points just to make sure they're certain that they're in there. I don't think they'll mind too much if it's a draw. I think they'll probably just sit back and think, yeah, a draw's good enough. It's going to keep us in the top 6 till the end of the season. I'm going to go with Stockport 2, Rotherham 2. I think if it's a draw at 2-2, Stockport will just shut up shop and say, fine, we're okay with a point, because it keeps us in the top 6. We'll rest our players from here on. So what's after Rotherham? Well, it's our great game from Sunday. Welcome to all you Birmingham fans, and welcome to all of you Trophy fans, because it's Birmingham versus Peterborough United. Now, obviously, we had the red card for when did the red card come in? We did have a red card, didn't we? Peterborough? No. I'm sure we had a red card for Peterborough. Is it Bristol Rovers? I'm going the wrong way round, aren't I? It's Northampton. Yeah, Peterborough's Eden red card, 27 minutes against Northampton. He'll be missing this game, and it's really, really disappointing, because obviously, what was the last game for Peterborough? Oh yes, it was a defeat to Birmingham, 2-1. And yes, obviously Birmingham won 2-1 last time out away at Peterborough. Let's have a quick look at this, because I think this is going to be similar on the players. I should think. I think that they won't really have rested very many. Peterborough 39% possession, which I actually, yeah, that's about what I would have expected. 5 shots though, not that many for 39%. 3 on target, 1 in the net. Now that's the 3 on target, 1 in the net's good, but just 5 shots out of 39%. You know, they were really pegged back for most of that. For most of the game, they were just, let's put everybody in defence, because you could tell by the fact they got 354 passes. It's all at the back, and they just couldn't get forward to have a shot. So only 5 shots. Birmingham, on the other hand, remember it's away from home here, 61% possession, 14 shots. Perhaps not as many as what I would have expected from this Birmingham side. They really are capable of hammering that defensive goal, aren't they? 4 of them on target. Now that's not brilliant for somebody at the top of of League One. And it's not going to get you very much past the bottom third of the Championship. They do need to start pulling something back on that. If they're going to control the game like that, they need to be getting the shots in. 14 shots, 4 on target, 2 in the net. You know, that worked this time. This time it was 3 shots on target to Peterborough, 1 goal, and 4 shots to Birmingham. 2 goals. That I feel that if they do that in this particular game, Peterborough are going to be playing just a little bit better at Wembley, and I can see them stepping up their game. Birmingham are already at the top of their game, guys, and I can't see them. How much can they improve? They're already playing brilliantly. Now, unless Birmingham fans, you think that you can actually play even better at Wembley, maybe, yeah. But from what I've seen recently, that the performances have been absolutely brilliant, and being able to pull the defenders across and then quickly whip it into the space. The thought pattern and thought processes of the certainly the attacking third is really, really good, really strong. Against a Peterborough side, like I say, they've got some improvement to do. They can do that at Wembley. I fear that, though, that the important thing from the Peterborough game last time out, where Peterborough lost, is that Birmingham had 578 passes to Peterborough's 354, and you can see that it's good 2/3 more, and you're thinking they really do keep the ball, make sure that they know what they're doing when they attack, and that's why they get such good possession figures. However, like I say, if you're going to keep that possession that much, you need to have that possession a little bit further forward and be a little bit more pushy. But the downside of pushing too much is, of course, you leave the back empty. So actually, I prefer the way that Birmingham have been doing it. They've been doing just enough to win the games and just enough pushing to make sure they don't leave a hole at the back. And that's what they did against Birmingham against Peterborough, because Peterborough were just not allowed to get much further past that midfield. They were getting into midfield because Birmingham's line was stationary in their own half, but it was absolutely solid. I can see the Birmingham side improving a little bit. Go on, I'll give you Birmingham fans a little bit of leeway. I can hear you shouting at the video. Look, I think that Birmingham will raise their game a little bit because it's Wembley and because it's going to be absolutely a cauldron of fire in there, isn't it? But I still don't think it's going to be to a massive amount. I think that you're going to start seeing people want to shoot more, though, and I think you'll see the back end come a little bit further forward because they're wanting to give the fans a day to remember at Wembley, where they don't just win. The thing is, to me, Birmingham fans, you've been doing what you need to do to win games and get promoted, and at the end of the day, that is what you needed to do. And a lot of you fans are telling me that, who are Birmingham fans. I get a lot of texts on through the video saying, "Yeah, you're right. We just play what we have to do." John Morell's one, yes, who says, "Yeah, we do as little as we can to get the 3 points, and that's all we need to do." In the league, this isn't the league. This is a cup game. They're going to want to give the Birmingham fans something to really shout about, and I think that hesitance to push forward so that you don't leave the back empty may start to just crumble a little bit, and you push forward because of the enthusiasm and the atmosphere in the stadium. That tends to be what happens. It also means that Peterborough could get a goal because you're going to be pushing forward, I think, and Peterborough will be able then to just get past that. If they can get past that back line, it's going to be higher up and they'll get a better shot at goal, certainly more than 5. Having said that, I can't see Peterborough really winning this one. I've got a feeling it might be a draw on 90 minutes, but I think that's probably the best Peterborough could hope for. A draw on 90 minutes. I think that then Birmingham have far too much in their tank, certainly on the bench, to be able to pull off a few really fit players and just blast the last extra time with 1 or 2 goals. So it's either going to be a draw on probably a 2-2 draw on full time is one of my scores. But I think that I'm going to go with, looking at those figures, I'm going to go with Peterborough 0, Birmingham 2. And I think those goals may come in the first half, and that they'll use the second half more like shooting practice. But it could be 2-2. I'm going to go with a Birmingham win, definitely. I'm going to go with Peterborough 0, Birmingham 2, and we'll call it a day. Thank you for watching John Esse's Sports Channel. Thank you. Do like and subscribe, and I'll see you later for the next prediction video.